Hey guys, this is Dion here with your Guitar Academy, and in today's lesson we're going to look at how to play Don't Stop Me Now by Queen. So this is a really fun song to play, amazing solo as well, but I'm going to take you through the chords also. Even though there's kind of very little guitar on this track aside from the solo, I just want to show you a few ways that you can play along to it on your guitar, involving a few open chords, a few bar chords, and a few power chords as well. So we're essentially going to be approaching it as if we were playing this song at a gig. In place of or as well as a piano and keyboard part. So grab your guitar and let's get going. All right, so let's start by taking a look at the chords in this tune. So we're in the key of F for this song, F major. Let me just play through the chord progression and then we'll talk about what shapes to use and so on. So for the intro, we've got something like this. So that's obviously played generally by, normally by a piano in the original tune. But I think it sounds really nice when it's played on the guitar. So we've got mostly diatonic chords in this, meaning mostly in keeping within the key of F. I'll talk you through them now. So I'm starting by playing the tonic chord, that F. I'm using like that sort of bar shape at the first fret there. And this is not fixed at all. You can use any voicings you want. As long as you're playing these same chords, you're going to be absolutely fine. So F, 2, 3, 4, just for one bar. A minor. You can also do A minor 7 if you want a little bit more kind of sophistication. 2, 3, 4, A minor, 2, 3, 4. Now D minor. 2, 3, 4, G minor. 2, 3, 4, and then a C. 2, 3, 4. So that's the 1 chord, the 3 minor chord, the relative minor chord, which is the 6, and then the 2 minor chord, which is G minor, and then the 5 chord, which is C. And that pulls us back to the F here, which is our 1 chord. Okay, this gets a little bit interesting here. So now we go F, and then we want to play an F dominant 7. So I'm using this voicing up here, which is this kind of like C shape. You can do this one wherever you want. So what this is doing, this dominant chord is acting to pull us along to the next chord. So remember, dominant chords are what kind of create tension and release in music. So because this F chord, it's a movement of a 5th, okay? So we're going like 5 to 1 almost, if we visualize just that in its sort of a nutshell. Obviously the key is F, but we're using that F7 to bring us along to that B flat there. So it just creates a bit more tension and release. It's just a musical device that's used called secondary dominance. B flat major, down to G minor again here. D7. See, that's that dominant 7 chord there. It should diatonically be a minor. We're temporarily substituting it for a dominant 7 because it brings us back to the G minor. Okay, so again, just cool little musical devices that create tension and release throughout this chord progression. So again, let me just run that by you. So F to F7, B flat major, G minor, D dominant 7. And then we have the Don't Stop Me Now, those little cool little stabs, which is G minor, F, C, G minor. Okay? And you can listen out to the rhythm of the vocals there. Try and be very staccato. 2, 3, 4, and again, 1. And then we build on the G minor. 1, 2, 3, 4, C, 2, 3, 4. Like so. And that's the whole intro part. So let me just play that through for you again and you can hear how it all fits together. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So you see there at the end of that, the tempo starts to increase. Okay, so you want to listen to the original track to just get the feel for that. So that covers the whole intro part here. So now onto the verse chord. So this is where I would, if I was playing this in a live gigging situation, I would flip to my bridge pickup. I was using my neck pickup there. I'd flip to my bridge pickup and then I'd probably put on a bit of crunch and I would do some like cool palm muty power chords. So. So all I'm doing there is following exactly the same chords as the intro part, okay? I'm just playing them as power chords, all right? So get used to your power chord shape. So I'm starting on the first fret there for the F power chord. And it's all just downstrokes, you know? So palm muted, down, 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 up to the A power chord on the 5th fret. D power chord on the 5th fret of the A string. G power chord on the 3rd fret of E, and then C power chord. And we just follow the movement of those initial chords just as power chords, as I said, and it will sound something like that. Okay, stick on the F here, B flat, down to G, D, and then remember we do, that's our little stabs there. We're now doing them as power chords, okay? And you can do a little arpeggio in between. You could go like, and then at the end, at the end of the verse, I like to play a nice B flat power chord there. And then you're back to the tonic note there. So again, this is just an example of a way to play this tune as a guitarist and, you know, giving you some ideas for some rhythm guitar parts. So that pretty much covers all the chords for this tune. So let's take a look at the solo now. All right, let me just play through the solo for you and then we're gonna take a little look at what notes we're playing in a couple of the licks. Okay, so it goes something like this. And then all the way up here. It's quite hard to reach on this guitar. So yeah, let's take a little look at what's going on here. It's a classic Brian May solo. And it's got a kind of, rhythmically, it's got like a sort of slightly awkward feel to it. So let's just talk about the notes. So we're essentially still in the sort of key of F. So I'm using that sort of pentatonic shape, position 1. It's kind of like minor pentatonic position 1, I think of it as, but we're in the key of F. So think of it as D minor pentatonic position 1. So the first note is the 12th fret of G, and you're going to bend it up a tone. Make sure you're reaching that that note nicely, intonating it well. And then you see I bend it up, and then I pick again, release the bend, 10th fret of G, so it goes. And then repeat it. So we just go bend up, release, pick, bend up again, same phrase again. And then we go, so that's 12, 10, 9, 10. So far. Okay, just repeat that a couple of times. Cool, and then we've got this nice little melodic bit next, which goes. Really cool, that's just classic Brian May. So we're now on the B string, and we're hammering from the 10th fret onto the 11th fret with our first finger to our second finger. back down to 10, 12 on G, 10 on G. So a nice little melodic fragment. And then we could do that 12th fret bend again. So you hear that? So bend up, release, pick, bend up, release, pick, bend up again, and then down to the 10th fret of D. So far, let's just break it down. We have really melodic, really cool. Love this solo. And then we're going to move up a little bit. So we're now on the 15th fret of G. So we're doing a very similar sort of rhythm to this, but the frets are now slightly different. So on 15, bend up a tone, release the bend, pull off to 14. So again. So it does that twice essentially. And then we go. So that's 15, 14, 12, 14. And then we're back down in that same familiar shape that we saw before. 10 hammering onto 11 on the B string. Back down to 10. 12 on G. 10 on G, and then so that very familiar 12th fret whole tone bend again. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then down to 10 on the G. So let me just play that all so far. There's quite a lot to take in here. In terms of the rhythm, it's absolutely the best thing to do is to just really try and listen along to Brian May, the way he plays it, because it's really difficult to count this one because he's kind of a bit lazy with his feel. So whenever I learn solos like this, I get the notes down and then I listen to the original to get the rhythm perfect. So far we have... And then... Okay, and then after that, we're completely out of position because he goes... You can actually play it here as well. I'd probably rather do it here, actually. It's that kind of blues scale vibe. So 11th fret of the A string, slide down to 10 super quick with a third finger, pull off to the 8th fret. So we're essentially mimicking the same melody, just an octave down. And then we have this cool... He does this kind of like, I guess like sort of Jimmy Page style sort of flurry. It's one of these cool little fragments that you can practice. So this is simply, and this, by the way, the vocals have come back in at this point. So the solo's finished and now he's just sort of improvising behind the vocal. So this part is like 10 on the G string, hammering on to 12 with the third finger, pull off again to 10, and then pick the 12th fret of the D string. And it just does that a bunch of times, though. And I'll do it in context, so... So it's super quick. It's one of those ones that, again, practice it really slow, and then you'll hear on the record just sort of roughly when he starts and when he finishes, and that's really the best way to get this down. But that's the flurry, and it's a great little finger workout as well if you're not used to playing that sort of thing. Okay, and then finally, big gap there, and then Freddie is back singing again, and there's this cool little note that Brian hits where he goes, which is just the 15th fret of B. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And again, listen to the record to hear exactly where he comes in with that. And then finally, after Freddie's finished singing, and we go back into the chorus, we have this really cool bend that's way up on the 20th fret. It's actually quite hard to reach on this guitar. But what I'm doing here is fretting with my 4th finger the 20th fret on the high E. The third finger's got the 20th fret on the B. And then I'm just bending with my third finger up a tone, but also hitting the high E. And it sounds like this. Like that. And you get this really cool, like... That's it. So let me play the full solo now from the top and you can hear how it all fits together. I'm going to do it at about 130. Okay, so here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. And there we go. That's the full solo. And as I say, it's quite unusual in the sense that he plays the full thing and then kind of ad-libs behind or in between Freddie's vocals. But that's what makes it super cool. And that pretty much covers everything in this tune. So you've got your verse chords and your intro chords and some suggestions of how you would play this song on the guitar. And then you've got this iconic solo as well. So yeah, take your time with that, enjoy, and I will see you in the next video.